identity politics is now preached right through our universities, particularly now, the gender wars in particular. You must never judge, you must never even presume, even if you know someone was born a woman, looks like a woman, dresses like a woman, has a woman's name, do not dare say that she is a woman. Do not presume.
If you don't, I would consider that disrespectful, and that's actually an act of violence to misgender a trans person.
It's an act of violence.
That is an act of violence to intentionally misgender someone, yes.
No, presuming someone's gender is oppressive, and particularly to some people who are trans. In fact, Deakin University in Melbourne will next week host a lecture by one of its senior lecturers, Tamara Kayali Brown, who helpfully tells us on her Twitter account that she's indeed a she. I would never have guessed. But we should also refer to her as they, which isn't quite grammatically consistent, but there it is. Anyway, in her lecture, they will argue for gender to be abolished completely. So there's no more he and no more she. She, or they, will argue that the main argument in favour of gender abolition is that it would provide greater freedom to those who do not conform to gender stereotypes, while continuing to enable freedom to those who do conform. So we've all got to get rid of it to please those that few who take exception to it. And finally, a gender-free society, the big dream. Joining me is Bella de Brera, Director of the Foundations of Western Civilization Program at the Institute of Public Affairs. Bella, what is going on here with this lecture about having to abolish gender?
It's lovely to be with you, Andrew. Good evening. What is going on here is this is exactly what we've come to expect from the humanities, from the philosophy departments, from talking about ethics. This is their fixed obsession. It's class, race, and gender. This is all they have to talk about. My problem with this whole thesis, I don't know if you've put it up on screen or you've told your viewers exactly what this lecturer says, but it starts with gender is oppressing women and members of the LGBTQ plus community in Australia. And her view of Australian society is completely fictional. I cannot get over the fact that she's portraying Australian society as a dangerous society. She's making out that we're living in the 21st century Kabul, that as a woman, I'm oppressed every time I leave my house, that I have to cover my face. Mm-hmm. This is the kind of impression that they're giving from this lecture, which is totally at odds with reality, with the experience of most women in Australia in the 21st century. We're protected by the rule of law. We have equal rights. It's been like that from the word go. So this is the problem with the academics, that they're being paid to solve problems that are totally fictitious. There is no oppression of women and LGBTQ plus communities in Australia in the 21st century. It's ridiculous.
It's interesting, isn't it, Bella? Because, we've had a sort of intelligentsia that's been primed to seek offence for quite some decades now. Always picking up some sort of grievance. Started with some genuinely good causes, women's rights, of course, gay rights, etc., and it's built to this point. And I just wonder why, if they've been so hair-trigger sensitive for so many decades, why this particular outrage is one that's only occurred to the universities over the last few years. What were they doing before then?
Oh, look, they've been doing this for a while. We've had gender studies departments for a while. It's just picked up pace recently, and it's become extremely fashionable to talk about gender in these terms. And of course, the problem is that this is the stuff that's filtering into the schools. So we're seeing a result of the gender ideology that's been bubbling away in the universities. Now we're seeing it in schools. We're seeing it in this rash of adolescents who are now, identifying as another gender. They're being told that they can, because they're being told by academics, they're being told by people from universities that gender is anything they want it to be. But of course, now they're saying in this paper that they want to abolish gender altogether, which undermines the transgender movement, because the transgender movement is all about what identity they have in terms of gender. So, you know, this is the schizophrenia, this is the tangled web they weave. As soon as they start denying reality, and I've said to you, that, you know, on this show before, that as soon as you deny the basic fundamentals of the existence of a male and existence of a female, you just get completely caught up in this madness. And unfortunately, it's having a real-time effect on children. And I think this is the thing that we need to be talking about.
Oh, absolutely. The number of children who, for instance, some who are gay, who are now led to believe they're not gay. They're just a woman trapped in a man's body, and they need radical surgery, or the other way around as well. Women, oh, you're not really a lesbian. You're actually a man trapped in a woman's body, and therefore more surgery for you. I mean, it's just so sick, and what harm it's causing. I think there's going to be lawsuits in the future like nobody's business. You're already seeing them in Britain, by the way. Look, the fear of judging gender choices, though, is now getting absolutely absurd, Bella. Children in a Canadian school have seen their male teacher last year become, allegedly, a woman now who actually wears huge fake breasts to school. It's almost like he's become a satire of a woman. And in this school, the children are meant to concentrate on their lessons with these huge breasts with very prominent nipples poking right in their face. I mean, it's quite extraordinary. Your response?
Oh, look, my response, Andrew, is I wish I could unsee that image, but it's going to be etched on my brain for the rest of time. Many questions are raised by this extraordinary a decision by a man to wear giant prosthetic breasts in the school. But more extraordinary is the fact that he is protected by the school and is protected by the Ontario Free Code, which means that if parents complain about this, they will become the criminals. They're criminalized by this code. He's not. And there's a matter of health and safety. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the footage of what he's actually using, some very dangerous equipment, and those prosthetic breasts are definitely getting in the way of sawing a piece of wood in half. I mean, that's an accident waiting to happen. But look, it's worrying. As parents, you'd be saying to the school, "I do not want my children. This is a hypersexualized image, and this is what they're submitting children to school." But he's protected. He's protected by the school, and he's protected by the government.
It's quite extraordinary. Someone enacting their sexual fetishes in front of a room full of children, and you're not allowed to even notice or complain. I mean, it's just quite extraordinary. Bella de Brera, thank you so much indeed.
But Andrew,